Hey there, it's Bill here with JK Southwest. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're here in Central Nevada and we're gonna go check out the Belmont Mine, so stick around. As we're cruising along the beginning of the trail, I'm beginning to think that Nevada is home to more ghost towns than actual towns. And in this part of the state, there are several where you can get a glimpse of what life was like in the past. The higher elevation, the remote location, and mostly dry desert climate has really helped to preserve many of the old ghost town sites in this area. The Belmont Mill that we're heading to is a great example of the mining boom that hit this area in the late 1800s. I guess this is what happens when you try to access this area without being in a Jeep. When the car gives up, you just flip it over and leave it. The Belmont Mill that we're headed to today is a great example of the mining boom that hit this area in the late 1800s. All right, so we made it down the road to the Belmont Mine. Let's go check it out. The main building is quite impressive, sitting on the hill here overlooking a narrow canyon. The mill here was built to process ore extracted from the nearby towns of Hamilton and Treasure City. The ore was transported via aerial tramway, and while not an uncommon method, this is one of the few places where the ore carts, cables, and tramways are still intact. In fact, there are ore carts still full of ore just waiting to be processed. It's almost as if they just shut down one day and walked away from the site. You can see the large wooden bins filled with rocks on the south side of the mill. These served as counterweights to lift the ore containers up and down in the mill, where the precious dirt and rocks were dumped into the mill for processing. Much of the machinery is still inside the mill. However, it's beginning to get questionable as to the stability of the mill, and will soon be too unsafe to enter the building, if it isn't already. Also intact is the aerial tramway, kind of like the one you'll find at a modern ski resort. This one stretches about a quarter mile up the hillside. The tramway's thick cable is still intact and looks like it's ready to haul more ore. Like many mines in the area, operations here started and stopped several times throughout history, with events like the Great Depression and World Wars affecting the profitability of such remote operations. The mill's office, superintendent's home, and boarding house lie just below the 4-story mill. This group of structures, along with several in the hills above the mill, are still standing and in not too bad a shape considering they've been exposed to the elements for all these years. Despite its relatively short life, the mill here is a classic example of the turn-of-the-century Nevada mining camp and has undoubtedly survived better than most in the area. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave any comments or questions you have down below, and we'll see you on the trail.